As the water splashed, I turned around and shouted, "You scoundrels are here again!" The children dropped the stones and ran sounding a giggle while I chased them down for a few seconds. I was about to sink in the mud after a few hasty steps, but I saw that one of the boys slipped. So I ran towards him, caught him by the arm, and said, "You are that Topiwala's son, na? Finally, I have caught hold of one of you scoundrels. Today I'll make an example out of you." I dragged him halfway through the mud as he struggled trying to escape. We left a trail of his feet in the mud as I dragged him. It was tiring, but it was worth it. "What happened? Where are you taking this child?" asked Ghanekar as he looked up from the pans. He and his friends spoiled the salt in the pans by throwing stones into them. Every time we open the sluices to let the water into the pans, these menaces hide behind the trees and throw stones in the water. Today, they threw some in the batch that we were preparing for Gujaratis. I was tired from dragging the boy all this while, so we sat down among the snow with Ghanekar till I took a breath. The river fragmented and pixelated at the edge. "Look, Sahab has come there," and I pointed across the rectangle water. "Just go to Biru's house and tell him that Sahab is here. Go, hurry," I tell Ghanekar's son as I get a little comfortable on the ground.
नाखवा कोलिजात भोली, घरामध्ये द्रव्य महावा, टोपीवाल्यान गुलाम केला, बाटलीवाल्याच्या बराबर. Mannu's wife, Veera, was feeding her child while telling the mighty stories of Mumbarka. The smell of freshly captured fish filled the house with pungent aroma. "Can't we just store a lot of them?" inquired Biru. "You know, we don't have enough space to store it. It's a small house. Next year, if you get married, then it will be impossible to get things home. Yes, I hope the dowry and Bakshis yield me enough money to buy those roll cameras." "Bhau! Oh Bhau!" came a sudden voice running towards the house. "Arey, what happened? Is the sky falling?" Biru asked the kid, who stood panting at the threshold of the house. "Biru Bhau, some Parsi Babu is looking for you. He is in your field, asking around about you." Biru quickly got up, tightened his lungi, wore a cap, and rushed towards Jitu's Tadi Madi Kendra. "Arey Patel Babu, why took so much of trouble to come here? I was going to stop by your office tomorrow. If someone is still behind their Angadena, I'll fetch those houses." "Who are those?" Patel Babu was a hefty figure. He was sitting in a metal chair that Jitu provided him in the corner, sipping from his glass of Madi. "No, that can wait. You asked me to inquire about the job in one of the press. So yesterday I met this gentleman during the weekly market who was telling me how he's starting the new press in Marathi and he needs someone to organize his work. So I was thinking maybe you can help him with that, since you know a little bit of Marathi and English." "Ji Babu, I will do it. I want to write few essays in press. In fact, I'm going to buy a new roll camera very soon. End of this month only. You can tell him. He will have no issues with me at all." Yes. But I don't think he will let you write anything at first. But you can see how it works. Just don't talk about the politics of Angadena in front of him in any way," said Patel. "Yes, Babu. Thank you, Babu. Mumbai will bless you for what you did for me." "Yes," said Patel while getting up from his chair, going towards the bund. Biru ran behind him, giving him fresh water in the glass. "Just one more thing, Biru. Do put a good word for me in front of him." As I looked at them from a distance, a shiver passed through my spine and I looked at Ghanekar.
"I think he will be coming to me after 3 days. I was called to the bungalow, but I was ill. After a while, I completely forgot to go. All because of these rascals who come and trouble me." I got my energy back and I dragged the boy to the village near Malad station while Ghanekar picked up the bamboo and scratched the surface of the salt layer. We climbed onto the bund wall and we crossed the river while Koli women gave me suspicious looks on their way to the market, which I thought was because I was dragging a child. I knew where he lived. We had a past. I entered through the streets and looked inside a house through the open doors. The neighborhood was soaked in the smell of dried fish. "Who are you? Where are you dragging him?" a woman shouted from the adjacent house as she got up, throwing the fish and salt on the ground. Women who were sitting together drying the fish sneaked up, hiding their eyes behind their foreheads, wondering if this is about to become entertainment. After 2 rounds of slapping, I was fulfilled by what happened, and I eased a little, while the fisherwoman made her son to quietly sit in front of her as she sewed the net in the veranda. The catch left after the auction is one of the ways to add the money that we earn for this season, she said, as she leaned back and continued weaving. She brought out her basket, placed the pomfret crabs and some smaller fish in it, and prepared to head to the market. A lot of women gathered in the open spaces between the houses, drying their fish and segregating them. The last time I saw you was a while ago. Since you didn't buy salt from me as frequently as you used to, I figured there might be something going on. The auctioning has taken over the entire sale, I guess. Parsis have a way with the British, and they benefit from the auctions. She apologized for her son's behavior. I sighed and let the silence speak while I fidgeted with the net that was drying on the ledge. She was starting to leave and asked about my rates for the salt these days. You know what my market rates are. There is not much difference between that and mine. We walked towards the railway station, crossing the women who were still there, enjoying the boys' beating. Nets and bamboo grids, where the fish hung, became screens that draped the verandas and ledges in all houses. Water dripped from her basket at every step she took. As we reached the market, shouts of women and the smell of fish filled the space. I usually did not come to the station very often, and the last time I did was during Narli Purnima, when they had cleared the space the other day to celebrate the occasion. I recognized a group of servants buying large fish for the Parsis. They had met me during the time my land was being measured and demarcated. I bent down to stare into the bucket that was sitting there, with live lobsters, mullets, and prawns, the only species that reached the market alive. I then wandered around, bought a fish and some tari. While I was about to leave, I saw Kamla as she and her husband started setting up their tokris at their place at the bandar. Maya went around looking at people's setup to see who got the biggest fish that day. The cats at the bandar are entertained by the 6-year-old, while they too hope to find and eat some fresh fish.
While Kamla got busy selling the lot, her husband started telling Maya a story. The usual Saturday morning at the bandar last week became special because of Narari Purnima. Narari Purnima is the start of the fishing season. After a couple of months long of heavy rains, fishermen go back to the sea to catch fish. We believe that on this day, the first coconut falls into the seas. It becomes calm and the phase of cyclones and storms ends. I remember my father being excited about this day every year, as it meant more catch as the breeding season comes to an end. I remember this time in very different way, since this day also meant that my father had to go back to the seas. We wouldn't be able to spend every day together as we would for the past 3 months. But this is not something that used to happen earlier. I remember how before the storm hit Mumbai's shore and disrupted a lot of houses and boats, he would go to fish even during monsoons, when all fishes would come near the shore. I remember that sometimes we would catch so many fishes that even if we didn't go fishing for the rest of the year, we would financially survive. This time used to be the happiest time for us after catching fish and the start of Ganeshotsav. People in the community would really be happy. Since you haven't gone fishing with your Baba on the Machwa, let me tell you how we use navigation. Kori's natural sense of navigation of the seas lies with the moon. When it rises, the high tide starts, and it is at its peak when the moon is above the head. When the moon sets, low tide begins, and when the moon disappears, low tide is at its peak. Every day the moon rise is delayed by half an hour, so we need to look out for that. You know, when the wave direction is from west to east, the fish catch is less, and after we celebrate Diwali every year in October-November, the fish catch decreases and increases only after Holi in March. Maya asked, when does actual fishing happen? Her Baba is home during the monsoon months. He's actually making new nets or repairing the old ones that easily take him 4 months to make. They would need at least 3 420 feet long nets on this boat for a good amount of catch, because they use the doll method to fish by placing the nets 18 feet deep in water with the help of wooden poles and 2 boats. The net is pulled off 1 hour before the high tide begins. That is when actual fishing happens. Maya giggles and runs away, distracted by another cat roaming around. The sun was about to set. Ravi and his men were unloading the stored fish boxes from the port. With the help of a few men from the village, he took the catch to their court. Kamla asked her husband to buy a new basket and 2 coconuts for dinner. Meanwhile, Kamla then got busy with the sorting of fishes and hanging some of bamboo stands to let them dry. Kamla took some of the lot to her house, where Aji would lay the catch, preparing some for salting on the oti. There, she later started gutting the larger fishes while the smaller ones were left for the customers to do by themselves. A part of this batch was ready to be sold at auction that would happen later in the day, while others will be stored for the coming days.
I walked back to the salt pans to finish scratching the crystals and to sit by the coast to drink tadi with घाणेकर. मी आत्ताच मार्केटला जाऊन आलो आणि ते आपली कोळी म्हणत होती आता धंदा पूर्ण बदलला आहे. सर्वच जण ऑक्शनमध्ये मच्छी देतात आणि खूपच कमी लोक स्वतः गिरायकांना विकतात. आपण सुद्धा चालू करूया का असाच ऑक्शन? आपली काही आगरी लोकंसुद्धा असतीलच ना तिथे. अहो, पण त्यात सर्वात जास्त फायदा या पारसी, गुजराती, मारवाडी व मुसलमान लोकांचाच तर आहे. आपण लोकांना तिथे कोण घेईल? ते तर आहेच. या पारसींकडे एवढा पैसा आणि जमीन आहे की त्यांना घाऊकमधून घेणं शक्य आहे. ते माहीमला सुद्धा जे नवीन लोक पालघरवरून राहायला येतात ते ह्या पारशींकडूनच तर राहायची जमीन घेतात. हो तर या ब्रिटिशरांनी एवढी जमीन दिली आहे त्या पारसी, मारवाडी, पंचकळशी लोकांना, त्यांनाच सर्वात जास्त फायदा होतो. घाणेकर sat down and stretched his legs. I knew he was drunk and he would need my support to reach home.